There were men that came in this period equally as great as Elijah or Jeremiah. But none of these men had a message from God. There was no new revelation from God at all in this period. During this long night of suffering, God did not speak. He had no word. Finally, Palestine and these people fell under the iron heel of Rome, a Western power. Pious and godly people who belonged to the remnant of Israel began to ask the question, has God forgotten? With a puzzled look they scanned the heavens and said, has He withdrawn? The silent night was punctuated with question mark after question mark. Has He deserted us? In the English language and in any language, the most bitter word that can be spoken is the word alone. For 400 years, God left these people alone. They were alone. And yet He was overruling all that period of time. Yet He was directing from the background during all that time. Finally, we arrive at the New Testament. Where does it begin? Historically, the New Testament opens with the Gospel of Luke. Luke is the one who opens the New Testament. And the narrative does not open with the birth of the Lord Jesus at all. It opens with the announcement of the birth of the forerunner, John the Baptist. And the very fact that this announcement has been given to man is an indication that if the one who's to come is to have a forerunner, he's a person of importance and significance as far as heaven is concerned. He's to have a forerunner. There is to go one ahead of him and make straight the way of the Lord. There is to go before him one as a voice crying in the wilderness and announcing that he is coming and will appear among men. May I say to you that the New Testament therefore opens with Luke's account of the appearance of the angel Gabriel to the father of John the Baptist. That's where God put in His oar after 400 years of silence. After 400 years of silence, God rent the iron curtain of man's sin. God broke the sound barrier of man's resistance, and God came through and intruded upon the history of this world. He broke in with the announcement of the birth of John the Baptist, and it was a tremendous announcement. He's saying also that the Old Testament did not end His story, that He did not write finish over the end of the Old Testament, that actually it is true to say that the Old Testament is expectation and the New Testament is realization, that God finished nothing back there, that God has now broken through and God has come through. And God now is going to speak again. May I say there's a tremendous message in the very fact God now is breaking through in this. Man may defer God's plan, but he can never finally defeat God's plan. You may this morning resist Him. You may. He permits that. You may this morning, my friend, stiff-arm Him. You may turn your back upon Him. You may be in rebellion against Him. And you may for a moment postpone His action, but you will not finally delay it. It will come. He will move. He'll accomplish His purpose. For 400 years, these people in sin, these people who'd been sent into captivity, these people knew what it was to have again the lash of the slave master upon their backs. They learned in resisting. But you cannot defeat Him. He'll finally come through. God will ultimately prevail. You cannot permanently hold God from His plan and from His purpose.